The year is 1936. A shadow was stretching across Europe. In America, that shadow found a home. A group with strong ties to Nazi ideas formed in the United States. It called itself the German American Bund. Its leader was a man named Fritz Kuhn. He was a German immigrant and a U.S. citizen. The Bund declared itself a patriotic American organization, but its heart beat to the rhythm of a foreign drum. It used Nazi symbols. It spoke in Nazi words. It held large, boisterous rallies that echoed those seen in Berlin. It set out to teach young people the very same ideas that were taking root overseas, all under the guise of American values. This was not a secret society hiding in the dark. It was a movement that stepped directly into the light. The German American Bund was not born in a vacuum. It emerged from the remnants of earlier pro-Nazi groups in America. In March 1936, Fritz Kuhn consolidated these factions into a single, more powerful entity. It quickly grew into the most visible and organized pro-fascist group in the United States. Chapters sprang up across the country: New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Milwaukee. The group created its own distinct identity. It had uniformed members, military-style flags, and disciplined marches. Its members paraded down American city streets. They held public rallies where powerful speeches were delivered to thousands. For many who watched, it was a terrifying spectacle. For others, it was a source of morbid curiosity. The Bund was testing the limits of American tolerance. To gain acceptance, the German American Bund wrapped itself in the American flag. This was a deliberate and calculated strategy. Fritz Kuhn understood that a purely German-focused group would be rejected by the wider public. The Bund's events often featured American patriotic symbols placed directly alongside Nazi insignia. American flags, Nazi insignia. The most famous example, the massive 1939 rally at Madison Square Garden. Giant portrait of George Washington on stage. American flags on stage. Swastika banners on stage. By placing these symbols together, the Bund made a bold visual argument. It claimed its fascist ideals were not foreign but an extension of American history and values. The group's leaders insisted they were loyal Americans. They called their members American comrades. They recited the Pledge of Allegiance at meetings, sometimes immediately followed by a salute to a swastika flag. This blend of Americanism and Nazism was meant to confuse and disarm critics. Kuhn argued the Bund fought for the rights of Americans of German descent, like other ethnic heritage groups. He claimed they defended the Constitution from internationalist forces. He claimed they defended the Constitution from communist forces. This patriotic veneer was central to the Bund's public relations. It let some people overlook the group's more sinister elements. It was chilling. As the German American Bund became more visible, its presence began to alarm communities across the country. The sight of swastikas, once a distant symbol seen only in news reports from Europe, was now appearing in American neighborhoods. Neighbors reported seeing the hooked cross displayed on lawns painted on buildings. Bund members handed out flyers and pamphlets filled with anti-Semitic rhetoric. For many citizens, this was a profound shock. The symbols of a violent, totalitarian regime had arrived on their doorsteps. The media played a crucial role in bringing the Bund's activities to national attention. Newspapers, magazines published damning photographs of their rallies, youth camps, and uniformed stormtroopers. Reporters documented the hateful speeches and the fervent crowds. The massive rally held on February 20th, 1939 at Madison Square Garden in New York City became a turning point for public opinion. Over 20,000 people attended the event, filling the arena. Fritz Kuhn denounced President Roosevelt from the stage and attacked the Jewish-controlled press. The event was met with a massive counter-protest outside, where tens of thousands of New Yorkers gathered to condemn the Bund. The rally made it impossible for anyone to ignore how close this foreign ideology had come to the American heartland. In response, local governments began to take action. Public hearings, restrictions on uniforms and banners, balancing public order with First Amendment rights. And that resolve mattered. One of the most insidious aspects of the German American Bund was its focus on youth programs and summer camps. The organization understood it had to capture the hearts and minds of the next generation. All across the country, the Bund set up camps modeled on Hitler youth camps in Germany. Camp Siegfried, Yafank, New York, Camp Hindenburg, Grafton, Wisconsin. These camps were presented as wholesome getaways for German American children. Hiking, swimming, sports. The German American Bund did not operate in isolation. In its quest for influence and legitimacy, it sought alliances with other extremist groups in the United States. The most notable of these was the Ku Klux Klan. Although the Bund was primarily a northern urban organization, composed of German immigrants and their descendants, and the KKK was a largely southern, rural, and Protestant movement, they found common ground in their shared ideologies of white supremacy and virulent anti-Semitism. Public records and news reports from the era document joint activities between the two groups. For example, in August 1940, the Bund held a rally at its Camp Nordland in Andover, New Jersey. The featured speaker for the event was the Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. As documented by PBS and other historical sources, the two groups came together under a banner of shared animosity. Klansmen in their white robes stood alongside Bund members in their stormtrooper-style uniforms. They praised each other's goals and affirmed their mutual commitment to creating a racially pure America. This alliance, however uneasy, demonstrated that their hatreds were stronger than their cultural differences. For the Bund, collaborating with the KKK helped to legitimize its presence. For the KKK, the Bund offered a connection to the rising tide of fascism in Europe. They shared enemies, Jews, communists, and the administration of President Roosevelt, which they saw as a threat to their vision of America. The sight of the swastika and the burning cross together was a powerful symbol of the threat facing the nation. This alliance of hate horrified the American public and underscored the true nature of the Bund's agenda. As the German American Bund grew in prominence and audacity, it inevitably drew the attention of the United States government. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, under its powerful director J. Edgar Hoover, began to closely monitor the group's activities. The FBI compiled extensive files on the Bund, its leaders, and its members. Agents infiltrated meetings, photographed rallies, and intercepted mail. They gathered intelligence on the operations of the youth camps and documented the group's connections to other subversive organizations. The result was a massive report, running thousands of pages, that provided a detailed blueprint of the Bund's structure, finances, and propaganda network. This surveillance was part of a broader effort to understand fascist and communist influence. Critics argue Hoover prioritized anti-communism. HUAC probed the Bund, bringing its activities into the public record and building legal cases against its leadership. The strategy was not to outlaw ideology, but to dismantle the group using other legal means. Kuhn was charged with embezzlement and grand larceny, convicted, imprisoned, and stripped of his U.S. citizenship. With its leader, Fritz Kuhn, imprisoned and later deported, the German American Bund began to unravel, credibility shattered, internal power struggles growing. As Nazi Germany expanded, American public opinion turned decisively against anything linked to Hitler. The attack on Pearl Harbor and America's entry into World War II sealed its fate. The Bund was outlawed, designated subversive, its assets seized, leaders arrested for conspiracy and sedition. Camps shut down. The movement was dissolved, its leaders jailed, and its voice silenced. Even after the Bund was dismantled, its history did not vanish. The records remained: files, photographs, trial documents, images of children saluting the swastika, and crowds cheering fascism at Madison Square Garden remain a chilling reminder. These records prove how a hateful ideology tried to plant roots in American soil by disguising itself as patriotism. This history matters today. It is a stark lesson in how extremist movements can operate in plain sight, using a nation's freedoms to try to destroy it. History can hide in plain sight until someone documents it. If you found this valuable, please like and subscribe for more documented history.